What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to talk to you about Lucid, give you a quick overview of some of the data points, what is really moving it, and go over everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So Lucid is up 1.32%, 289 the low, 317 the high. So a lot of volatility. 289, that low was brought on because of Tesla. So Tesla did unveil their numbers today, and it was a little bit lower than the forecast. So analysts were assuming around 515,000, came in at 495. So a little bit of a miss. So I think this is the first substantial miss and decrease month or quarter over quarter in almost a decade. So I think a lot of people are somewhat spooked by that a little bit, but nonetheless, that did cause a lot of volatility in the EV market. So Rivian went down, a lot of other entities went down because of that. But Lucid started to recover, and there was one thing that came out, not Lucid, or I guess from Lucid. So Lucid hasn't done any PR since December the 9th. They even haven't done any official news stating that deliveries have started, which is kind of weird. But under SoundHound, there was this that came out. So SoundHound and Lucid Motors bring in-vehicle voice assistant with integrated generative AI to electric vehicles. So this is something I brought up like 4 or 5 days ago. SoundHound's been kind of alluding to this for a while now, and even under the CES event, the description, it shows step inside a Lucid Air. So I think Lucid is going to get some free marketing at the CES event from SoundHound, and I think generally this is a good partnership. It doesn't state how much Lucid is actually paying for this, but I think Lucid does a lot to really increase the customer satisfaction. And so, yeah, I think in general, this is a fairly good thing. And hopefully this is also going to be incorporated in future models as well. So I think all in all, kind of a good thing. Still, though, I think Lucid is dropping the ball a little bit on their lack of PR. Like I said, the last news that came out was just the fact that they're participating in the NASDAQ 51st Investor Conference. So there's somewhat lagging a little bit, but beside the point, shorts are increasing 421,000 shares. 22.4% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 266.84 million shares overall are being shorted. So even just looking here, shorts have and were increasing quite a lot. You can see that from the teal line, and then they just started to return. So I think they took advantage of the fear associated to Tesla first thing, but I think they are since then returning quite a lot, which is adding a lot of buying pressure. So I think that's kind of what is causing it to go higher. But aside from that, kind of low volume for options. So even though you're seeing kind of high volume for the common stock, rather low on options, but still 53% of all the options being done today are optimistic and bullish. 618,000 in calls, 125,000 in puts. But of the call options that are being purchased, you do see a consensus for it to be above 350. So fairly positive about that. And then the bears are anticipating for it to be sub $3. You see this one right here is kind of random. January 17th, 2025, you see a $1 strike price. I don't see that being feasible whatsoever, but I guess anything is possible. So I don't know the basis of that, but these are all the transactions occurring on the secondary market above $100,000. So you had the string of selling that caused it to hit that low. And then aside from that, that's basically it. So algorithmic trading is really helping Lucid quite a lot alongside shorts. But in reality, I think it is also Lucid's technicals that are playing a fairly critical part in the movement up and down. But right now with it at 307, it is trading between these 2 points. So this R1 and the pivot. So 287 is going to be that next strong support. And conveniently, it did bounce off of that general area. So going forward into the next couple trading days, we know that's going to be a good kind of line in the sand ultimately. And then $3.42 is going to be that next strong target / resistance. So I think Lucid is going to be continuing to move higher. This pullback that did happen yesterday, Tuesday, was kind of unjust in my opinion. There was no real rhyme or reason to this, aside from it being more linked to technicals. So again, that's going to be another key resistance point to watch for going forward in the next little bit. But aside from that, one other thing that kind of came out was a new or like an article stating that Cantor Fitzgerald amended their rating, and that wasn't a official rating. So as per tip ranks, they still haven't given any rating since last month. So Cantor Fitzgerald, Andre Shepard, who has a 44% success rating, last has a target of $3. So by them giving a $4 rating, I've noticed that Cantor Fitzgerald is actually does that quite a lot, not just with Lucid, but across the board. They like to put out these articles, and I don't know if it's just to help them in the short term. Maybe they've turned bullish on Lucid or one of their other subsidiaries, and then they can kind of benefit from upside, because if analysts see or someone sees a $4 price target, that generally will move the price up, but they keep their official rating at 3. So it's kind of interesting, I think, generally, but regardless, I think there is a lot more upside, and hopefully new ratings do come out as a byproduct of Lucid's upcoming Q4 numbers, and then you'll be able to hopefully see goodbye to the 3s and the 2s, and they can just kind of move on higher. But yeah, I think right now just the market's waiting for that confirmation from Lucid just on how many they can actually produce of the Gravity, their targets, and everything else. Because in theory, yeah, AMP1 has the capacity of roughly like 90,000. AMP2 has a capacity now of 10,000. So for them to come out, let's say for 2025, and say, hey, we can do 15,000 as a target, I feel like the market might not necessarily like that, but we'll just have to wait and see. And it looks like Lucid is doing another one of those fun old dips that every investor loves to see. But aside from that, on the actual chart itself, it is below the ALMA. So right now, kind of just trading between that ALMA and also this right here, that 100-day moving average. So you have the 100 and 200-day moving averages fairly tight knit. So that's going to act as a very good support. But aside from that though, if it does break below that, then it might just trade between that and the 50-day moving average. But generally with that super trend at 255, so this green line right here, if it does break below that, then the algorithmic trading will really start working against Lucid. But I think just the broader market, there's a lot of negatives out there, there's a lot of positives, all depends on how you really want to portray it. So I think Lucid's kind of just stuck in limbo right now. And if Lucid was to come out and do a fireside chat and state, or even like restate that partnership, why that's good for Lucid and everything, then yeah, I think the market will be able to really buy up Lucid and hopefully retest at 350. But until that does happen, it's going to be more of a technical kind of up and down movement. So let me know your thoughts on Lucid. Do you think that this is a good partnership? Do you think that Lucid's upcoming Q4 earnings are going to portray similar type of, I guess, lackluster growth? I think in general for Lucid's numbers though, like they would really, it'd actually be harder for them to miss on those numbers, rather than, like, I think last we know it was at like 7,100. So logically, I don't think there's any way that they did miss, because I think in November they already stated they had their best delivery numbers. So logically, it's impossible for them to miss that 9,000. So I think, like I said, I think in general, this might be just a Tesla specific problem, not other EVs, but what do I know, right? So let me know your thoughts on Lucid. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe, and give yourself a shout out if you've been buying, selling, holding, whatever you've been doing. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon, link in the description below and also the comments, where I give buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. Many of them have been absolute bangers, so pop over there and take a look. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.